I want to stay out in Asia for the rest of my life, and I want my children to speak fluent, read and write Chinese.
Meet Robert. Originally from the UK, he emigrated to Canada with his family as a child. For the past 30 years, Robert has been living in China and now runs a production business in cosmetics packaging. A couple of days ago, he visited Singapore and we had a lovely walk where he shared what outsiders often misunderstand about China, the hidden reasons behind Western media's bad image of the country, and why the West may never catch up to China. I'm Max Chernov, your insider to Expat Life. Zoba.
When did you start noticing that China is changing drastically?
For me, one of the bigger major changes of China's change was the work people, because back in the old days, the workers in the cities, they would wear suits. So you would have labor workers, ditch digging, but they'd be wearing their suits. And that was like the major difference. You would not see those suits anymore. But everybody used to wear suits, like really ill-fitting suits. Digging the ditches, carrying the garbage, they wear suits. That's when I really remember that.
What year was it?
2004, around there.
So that was the start of the rise, economic.
But the real speed of China's change was 2008, after the Olympics.
After the Olympics,
that's when things started to really spread out to the main big provinces, and huge volumes of foreigners were coming in then, really huge. But it was all really to Shanghai. Shanghai got the lion's share of everything. And Shanghai became like the party city in every way, and the place to lose all your money. I have a lot of terrible stories about Shanghai back in the day. Good ones too. But Singaporeans got ripped off, the Westerners who came in and tried to do business, they got ripped off. Everybody was getting ripped off, but slowly, the country was rising off the ashes of the foreigners who were doing business in China. But some of them actually survived. Some of them actually had the right product and the right service to dovetail into the China market. But most didn't make it. I was based in Guangzhou.
In Guangzhou? Always in Guangzhou,
Yeah, but I traveled to Zhejiang and Jiangsu and Shandong, everywhere during the late 90s and early 2000s. So I saw all of China slowly rise up. I saw Shanghai begin from nothing, and then boom, suddenly in 2 years' time, there's buildings everywhere. It's really happening place.
How was Guangzhou in China back then? What was your impression?
Well, I lived in a small little town called Chonghua, which is about 60 kilometers from Guangzhou. It was just a little country city where there was a lot of cut and sew factories. But in the end, I moved back down into Guangzhou city, and the city was the bars that I used to go to were where all the expats from all over the world went to, and it was the happening place, and Guangzhou really was the place to be. And then suddenly Shanghai started to grow, and all those big expat companies, they go, why are we in Guangzhou? They all don't really speak Mandarin here. So let's go up to Shanghai, where it seems to be more global, and let's make our China base in Shanghai. So there was a huge exodus of expats back really early in the late 90s, everybody moving up to Shanghai. And Shanghai was like this, like what we see here. Everything done very well. The infrastructure was really awesome. Guangzhou, on the other hand, was just Guangzhou, grotty, dirty, ugly, like an ugly duckling. And it was polluted as hell. But I stuck it out there because I didn't want to live in Shanghai. But I ended up living in Shanghai a few years later, doing bungee business and another business after I transitioned from the toy industry.
But for you, your first years in China was probably easier than for other foreigners because you spoke Mandarin already.
Oh yeah, way easier. Way easier.
I mean, if you speak the language.
It was really exciting. It was a lot of traveling all over Jiangsu and Zhejiang and Shandong. Going to factories with 1,000 workers, 2,000, 3,000 workers, and you would hear the sewing machines from half a kilometer away, all making plush teddy bears for Walmart and Kmart. And it was my job to make sure that those they all look really, really beautiful, and I was good at what I was doing.
Let's say when you meet your friends outside of China, from the US, Europe, what they don't get about the place, the country?
I would say on an individual level, they're all pretty cool with the Chinese people on an individual level.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, and they all basically all want to come here, and the ones who don't want to come here are fools, because it's a great country, great civilization, fantastic food, but you're gonna have a hard time traveling if you don't speak Chinese, and you're gonna have a hard time traveling if you don't have the digital payment system, which is what they have. The main misconception is they're not robots. You know,
like even people in the West think that Chinese is like.
I think now with so much anti-Chinese things going on, I think a lot of the Western people think they're all like they're all robot type people.
Yeah.
And that they're not. They're all super individualistic on an individual basis. Yeah. It's only when you put them in groups, and the bigger the group is, the more stupid they become. Just like in the West. Yeah. The bigger the group, the more stupid we become, right? This is called the herd mentality.
The herd mentality.
And it's true. Yeah. It's true. So when I have one Chinese person and we're eating together, you know, I avoid politics. Yeah. I avoid politics. And if we go into politics, I find out that they're a nationalist. It might change my opinion a little bit about them. Yeah. But if they're patriotic, it's okay. To love the country is a good thing.
Why do you think this the negative, almost always a negative portrait of China in, let's say, in the Western media? Like that's the fear, or just how the media works overall? Or is the current trend?
I think this is the trend right now, and I think when you read things that make you scared, it makes you want to read more to make you scared. It's addictive. Yeah. I think it's addictive, this. They choose to write about these stories because it will then have an impact on their sales. Yeah. So they could change their stories and find stories that are not so damaging to the country's relationships. Yeah. They definitely can.
You're more Canadian or more British? The part of you is Chinese for sure.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
What's the percentage you think?
I'm 100% British. Physically, DNA-wise, like that. Yeah. But I've been in Asia, you know, most of my life now, so I don't feel Canadian. I don't feel British. I feel confused about this, to be super honest. But I would term myself as being a global citizen rather than an Asian global citizen. Yeah. That's how I would say myself. This is the problem of being somebody from different cultures. You always never know who you really are in the end. So. Yeah.
You're kind of losing ties with your home country. Yes. But then you never like become the true, like in Singapore they say true blue Singaporean, like you never become like 100% citizen of new place. Yeah. Have you obtained any habits from like 30 plus years in China?
Yeah, I sleep in the afternoon.
Okay.
So all my staff, they all have beds and they go to sleep after lunch at 12:30.
All right. For how long?
1 hour.
1 hour.
Yeah, it's like I'm spoiling them from 12 o'clock till 1:30 is their time. Now, I don't sleep at that time because I'm in the gym at 1 o'clock until 2. Yeah. So I go to sleep after I finish my gym workout. Okay. Because I'm pretty tired after the workout. Yeah. And I'll sleep for about 35 to 45 minutes. Yeah. Then I'll feel super guilty for staying in bed, and then I'll go back to the office. And that's how my day works now.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe I won't drink ice cold water anymore. I will drink room temperature water. Okay. Well, sometimes I will drink 热水, and 热水 is hot water, and the Chinese drink that for everything. It solves everything, drinking hot water, even global crisis. I would say.
Is there the case that, let's say I'm generalizing, but in the West people are more individualistic, and like in China people are more common to work in the groups?
China's in the middle. I would say that the Japanese are definitely group-oriented, and perhaps the Koreans too. Yeah. But the mainland Chinese, yes, they are in groups first and foremost. But once the group has been established, then all of the dynamics start about who's the top dog. I think just like in the West, but it's like, I think in China it's a lot more me, us, 我们中国人 against everybody else. It feels like that often. I don't work in a company anymore. I am the owner of my company. And so I don't run into those problems, but I will run into people during interview, and I can pick up through questions and how they chat, their real way of doing things. Yeah. I will also say, if you're gonna come into China, get a WeChat group. And if you're gonna be hiring people, you have to start hiring in the WeChat, having like a weekend chat, slowly over 2 days, 3 days, even before you meet the person.
You need to establish some level of relationship.
Yeah, first you get to I would do my main, get all the formalities out of the way on the WeChat chatting like that, just back and forth. You haven't met the person, you've seen the resume, but just start chatting to them on WeChat. And you can find out a lot of things from that. And then once you actually get to meet them, have your initial meeting, and I recommend also trying them out for a day in the office. Like give them a salary so you're not wasting their time, but try them for 1 day. You can do that legally, and then if you like them the first day, do it again the next day. So you have 2 days of actual testing them to see how they work with other workers in the office. But you've already established their personality type, because then they're gonna have a hard time lying on WeChat. Because you can also judge how long it takes them to answer a simple message. Because they might be checking with friends. So the longer it takes, then it's not so sincere.
So the personal connection matters a lot.
Yes.
Maybe it matters more than, let's say, in the US. Like it's more transactional, but in China you need to be kind of become maybe friends or.
No.
Okay, tell me.
I think that's a fallacy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This is a big subject, and I like this. What you're talking about in China is called guanxi, right? Guanxi. This means personal connection. Yes, I agree. It's really important. It is important, and I recognize it's important.
But because that's what actually people think China is. You kind of need to go for lunch or dinner, maybe drink with Chinese, and then you kind of become more open to each other, and then you do business. No?
I'm going to say no to that.
Okay.
And the reason why is because they are also judging you too, probably way more deeper than you are.
Okay.
So over the last 20 years, I've been in China a lot longer, but since I've been running my own company, I found that the best technique is a little arm's length away, and I avoid, like the plague, having to have lunches and dinners with the factories. Absolutely avoid that.
Why?
Well, because number one, back in the old day in the toy industry, you would get shit-faced, like 2 or 3 bottles of baijiu, whiskey, and you couldn't do any work. But now they know they have a measure of your personality. And that was the whole reason that lunches and dinners are an art form. It's warfare back in the day. So they would separate the people in different tables, and they would start asking you questions at the same time, just pouring drinks, and you're having to gambe with each person individually, then the whole table. You've had 10 gambes, they've all had one. So who's in the winning position right now? Of course they are. So that was how it was back in the day. So now, in the last 18, 19 years, since I've been in this cosmetics business, I rarely have dinners and lunches. In fact, I avoid them as much as possible. I'll plan my factory tour around avoiding lunches and dinners. Sorry, 不好意思，我要走，我很紧张，有飞机，有火车，什么。I always say I gotta get going.
So you don't want to get that personal with your staff?
I am going to. Staff is different. We're talking about, for me, factories.
Yeah.
I'm
or
not,
with the partners, or clients.
I don't talk to clients. I don't sell. I'm completely in the back end of the business. And so I can tell the factory, no. I don't want to drink, I don't want to do anything. I just want to go back to my hotel room or leave. But in a nice way. It's not cold, no way. You see my personality is cute, funny, and bubbly like that. And I bring that in with the factories I go to, but with a serious side. If you are selling into the China market,
it's a different story. Different skills.
Again, I would say spend several months in China before you kickstart the business, and use the expat. There's all kinds of levels of expats. Get their opinions. Because in the end, you spend hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars US for your business launch in China, and you end up having the wrong partner. That's a real possibility. And the partner decides, oh, I can do it too. And that happens a lot.
Okay.
So, and you gotta learn Chinese. You gotta learn Chinese. And if you're married and you have your family back in the West, then make a second decision about doing it, because China's 5,000 year civilization is going to suck that person up totally. And high divorce rate, it's really more of a difficult choice.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend living in Singapore. This is an awesome place. And then have other people do the opening up business. But you have to have people you trust. People with morals.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. People who are not going to let you down. And it doesn't matter if they're like heavy drinking people when they're young. It doesn't matter that.
Yeah.
Because in the end, what counts is do they understand that they have these deliverables that they have to do. And they're doing it even with a hangover. Because expats tend to drink a lot more, right?
What would be your advice how to make friends with Chinese?
For me, because I like the gym, so I would first choose the gym. And there are outdoor gyms there, and you can start there to meet friends. You won't meet so many people in the bars, but then you gotta be careful. If you love drinking, then that's your place to go. But I don't recommend finding long-term friends from being drunk all the time with them. That's not so good. I think for me, it's like just traveling on a bus, because I often go on buses with my children, and it's a delight. It's an air-conditioned bus. There's Chinese people on the bus, and we always start talking. So that's like a great way to meet people on buses.
Are they naturally curious about foreigners?
Absolutely curious. More so than now, because there's very few foreigners now living in China. Yeah, very few. And when you have like tiny little mixed blood children, they become even more curious. So it's kind of fun.
Hey guys, just a quick announcement. Don't skip. I'll be running a 3-day workshop called Fast Track to Views and Profits on YouTube. If you ever wanted to start your own channel, this is the best way to do it. You will learn how to choose the most profitable niche and how to beat the YouTube algorithm. You're gonna love it, I promise. Link in description, so sign up if it's for you. And now back to the video.
Do you think the relationships of China and the West and like the US is getting, at some point it will be getting better, or it's hard to say now?
Well, it's like you have two really strong people, two really strong civilizations. And China believes that the West is pushing it down. I'm not going to talk about that subject. I'm not. But now you have these two really big people in the room, and they're going to push and shove each other to see who's going to flinch and who's going to give up a little bit. I think that's what's happening right now. China wants to grow, and the US wants to keep on growing. And they're both tough, and there's too much male energy involved in this relationship. And I don't think there's going to be a war, but I think we're going to see a lot more pushing and shoving. It's okay. We'll survive the next 50, 100 years.
Yeah, so you're more positive about the future of the world.
I'm absolutely. I have to be. I have children. I'm totally okay with the future.
When you go to the West, what's now weird for you, or something like strange?
I'm a foreigner.
Strange.
I go back to the West now. I'm a foreigner. I'm a foreigner. I'm just like they are. I'm just like the Chinese who go to the West for the first time. I'm really out of my water there. It's difficult for me.
Can you specify why?
I would need to spend 2 or 3 years back in the West before I'm comfortable again. I'm not comfortable in the West anymore. I'm comfortable out in Asia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, China. I'm comfortable there.
Yeah, but why? Can you how do you explain to yourself?
Most things like in Canada and England, you have to drive a car everywhere. I don't drive. I drive motorbikes, but I don't drive a car. I do drive a car in China, but I don't need to because the transportation there is so awesome. And everything in the West is so structured and more documentation and all that kind of stuff. And I would have to start from the beginning again. So I don't see myself moving back to the West.
No? You don't see?
No. I want to stay out in Asia for the rest of my life, and I want my children to speak fluent, read and write Chinese. Even if we're not living there in the future. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, right? With Trump.
So you think it's like the West is more bureaucratic?
Totally.
And like more slow.
Too slow and not nimble enough. Too relaxed, too comfortable, and they don't have like the energy that they used to have back in the 60s. That's what's being lost. Everything is too easy. And we're competing on a global industry now. At least my industry, it's global. So if you're slow, you're going to lose in every sense.
What's your main principles in life, like overall?
I do believe in karma. If you do a bad thing and you're basically a good person like I am, karma is going to teach you some lessons. And if you haven't learned the lessons, karma is going to go, okay, you're going to have to learn more. Okay. So my main principles are be honest, be optimistic, have as much laughter and fun in life as possible without hurting somebody else. Be stoic, be super stoic.
Yeah, like, that's important.
Stoic is really important for me because it's that give up mentality. I don't want to give up. You strap me to the front of a ship going into a big typhoon. That's what I like. I don't want to do it, but I am not fearful of that kind of difficulty. Yeah, definitely not fearful.
What's the meaning of life for you?
Try to make the place a little bit better by laughter and happiness and fun. That will be to say what my meaning of life is to bring more joy and happiness through my silly sense of humor. That's true.